Hello again. Today I have this nice exotic tubular style lock, the Isis. I got this rare lock from RunePicker, thanks buddy, and that's a quite unique design I've not seen before. First of all, you will notice the 5 holes for the pins outside the part that is actually moving when you turn the core. So how does this work? Well, therefore we have to take a close look at the key. This is looking really beefy. And first of all, you notice those parts here. This is the actual bitting. And then you see this extending part here. That's the part that's actually tensioning the whole lock. So how does this work? Well, there's a quite strong spring here. So you insert the key, press against this spring, and then you can turn the key, and then this ring with the bitting stays in place while you are turning the rest. And once you made a full round, this snaps back and you can pull out the key again. So now the bitting is set. Then I apply more tension, and then I can turn the core, and actually the cam is turning as well. So that's how the lock is working. And what is important for picking, all those pins have tapered tips, and additional to that they have hourglass shape, sometimes a bit looking like a soft rounded spool, but the main part that comes into play is the tapered part. So you have to go through all elements multiple times, as they like to play ping pong. So setting one element is dropping another, and also they are just moving with very tiny steps to shear. So I recommend to use light tension at the beginning to set them as close as possible, then very high tension to reduce the effect of the tapered element. And then it's just going through all the pins several times, and you don't have to expect a good feedback. You might notice that some pins can be pushed more easy than others, or are harder to push. Those were actually binding, but you won't get a good feedback on the tension wrench. And when you get it, you are very, very close to an open. For tensioning, I use this bent piece of wire. So build yourself something similar, everything will work, but it should be quite strong material as you apply, as said, heavy tension. Okay, that's it, and I hope you enjoy my attempts of picking this. Have fun! Okay, first let's try out this cool looking key. And it's working. Then I will apply clockwise tension with this bent piece of wire. This. And for the pins I will use this hook. Quite light tension at the beginning and increasing over time to make those tapered elements stay in place. Okay. Now all those elements feel different jiggly, so I start increasing the tension. And as said, this helps to reduce the effect of the tapered part of the pin. You feel for the pin that gives you the most resistance while pushing. But be careful not to overshoot when you're picked. As this is a tubular style lock, you would have to pick it several times for a 360 rotation. And once you picked one part of the rotation, the key won't work anymore. Okay, got a bit of core movement, so I'll release tension to not overshoot, and we are picked. Okay, to show you that we are picked, I will show you the backside of the lock. And you can see that I'm moving the cam with the tension tool, and now I will relock it, and you should hear a click. Okay, now let's cut this. Alright, First step of cutting this lock is to remove this, at least in this case, this holding thing here, nearly like a clip. And while you do this, hold the core in place as it might launch because of the springs. Okay, now gently release the holding. And now you can just pull out the core, hopefully with everything else in place. Okay, not really. I catch two drivers. So let's say this is driver 2, this 3. I think this was number 1, number 4, 5. In this case, you first disassemble the drivers, and now the key pins. There's also ball bearing or some ball bearings. Okay, let's take a look at this lock body, I think. Okay, you can see the 5 holes where the key pins are sitting, and that's nearly it in this lock. Nothing more from the housing. Now I will remove the springs to show you the core. Okay, you can see the 5 chambers for the drivers, and this nice hole here. I have no clue for what this is for. This groove where the clip is holding everything in place, the back part, and that's it. The design is very equal, or it's a tubular style lock, so nothing new here. Now let me rearrange those springs for a nice close-up. Okay, now let's take a closer look at those beautiful pins. The general shape of those pins looks quite equal. So that's a key pin. And you see this hourglass spoolish shape. That's the part that's interacting with the key. That was key pin number 1. That is key pin number 2, and it has a ball bearing. I don't know if this is some kind of mastering or just to reduce the use of the pin so it won't get destroyed over time. I don't know. As well, you can see this little smooth groove, a bit like an hour shape, and this tapered part. So if you're applying too much tension, you get some kind of feedback as if you are not set already. Let's keep it number 3. Again, nothing too special, looks quite like the first one. Now I will show you the drivers. It's driver number 1. It's a bit dirty, but again you should see this smooth, spoolish, hour-shaped part and the tapered end. And this tapered part makes it quite hard at the beginning, so you have to push the pin several times to set it. All elements, as you have seen, has to be pushed multiple times, but with the right tension it's not very difficult. That's driver number 2. I will show you driver number 5, as this is a bit longer one like the other key pins. So 2 grooves here, but the general design of all those pins is quite equal. So that's the ISIS lock, an interesting tubular style lock, quite good tolerances, but once you managed how to tension this thing and the binding order, it's not very difficult. But an exotic design, and as always a nice pick. So thank you for watching, see you soon and goodbye.